What is up, brothers and sisters? It's Jay Campbell, and you're listening to the Jay Campbell Podcast. Join me for regular deep dives with amazing beings whose work is manifesting a golden age. And remember, you create your reality by your focused thoughts, conscious words, and intentional actions. Raise your vibration to optimize your love creation. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jay Campbell, and I'm making a quick commercial here for seercustom.com, my revolutionary cosmeceutical peptides company, co-founded with my business partner, Nick Andrews, who happens to be one of the world's top formulators. We have the revolutionary Oxano Grow, which completely regrew my hair. If you guys saw my hair about a year ago, I was almost bald. I even had the micropigmentation program from Advantis. And now I've completely regrown my hair. That's just with version 1. Version 2 is now in the marketplace, or will be very, very soon. And it is 3 to 5 times as more effective than the current version or the original beta version of Oxano. We also have Royal Blue Serum and Sky Blue Cream, which will completely upgrade your face. I mean, I'm almost 50 years old. I have a pretty good complexion. I use it regularly. My wife swears by it. It will reduce fine lines and wrinkles, dramatically improve elasticity, and just the overall look and feel of your face. You feel great on both of them. You can also use them with red light therapy. There's all sorts of great stuff. So go to seercustom.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the coupon J15 to take 15% off your purchase. I appreciate all you guys, and I send you tremendous love and light. Hey guys, what is going on? It's Jay Campbell, the founder of the Jay Campbell Podcast. And I'm very excited today to be in studio virtually via Zoom with David Weiss. David, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, Jay, man. Thanks for having me on. Glad to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
So it is going to be a fascinating conversation here today. So guys, David is making himself famous, if not infamous, across the planet right now as a very, very loud, outspoken proponent. Yeah.
Across the plane.
Across the plane. So he said he was going to call me out. So thank you for doing that. Across this plane or this earth experience.
Realm,
by being
whatever it is.
Yeah. By being a very loud and outspoken proponent of whatever you want to call the flat earth, again, the plane, the firmament, whatever this is, whatever this experience on this not spinning globe. Right. So obviously I brought him on the podcast here today to talk about, his thoughts. We're also going to talk about, the two worlds split right now between the dissonant and the resonant. Let me just, ask you first, as I always do on the Jay Campbell Podcast before we jump into the nuts and bolts, is like, tell us your background story a little bit. Like, what made you walk away from a lucrative, business and professional life to talk about this?
I was working for a corporation, and every day in the lunchroom, my buddy Tim and I, we'd be talking, about the Federal Reserve and explaining to people what it really was and what money was. And every day, more and more people would crowd around, and it turned into a whole thing. And then one day, we got invited to have a podcast out of Stand Up Labs in New York City at a stand-up comedy club.
Nice.
And we did a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. We went into all the conspiracies. And we were exposing, everything, all the big ones. And then people started sending me flat earth stuff, and I wouldn't watch a 1-minute video. I'd ban everyone that mentioned flat earth from our social media. All right. Because they're idiots. And then one day, speaking with Sophia Smallstorm, we were talking about the deceptions in the world. I was like blown away. I'm like, there's so much, everything's a lie. And she goes, oh, David, it's worse than that. I think the earth might be flat. And I blew a lid. And she's like, here, watch these videos. And she sent me a couple of videos, and I watched them reluctantly. And I said, that's it. I'm going to prove the globe. I'm not going to disprove flat earth. I'm going to prove the globe. And for 2 weeks, 24/7, I came out the other end going, holy crap. But I still didn't want to bring it up on the show because it would discredit all the other good work I did.
Yeah.
Right. But then finally I was like, I got to bring this up. The podcast came to an abrupt end pretty quickly because my other co-host couldn't handle it. And
what do you mean he couldn't handle it? He couldn't handle the idea that you were going back on what you had said before?
No, the fact that I'm saying the earth was flat.
Right. But basically he was disagreeing with what you originally had said where no, it's not. It's a spinning globe. Correct.
we never talked about it being a spinning
Oh,
globe because we all assume it's a spinning globe. We were
right.
trained that way before we could talk. We
Exactly.
have mobiles over our head. We were watching Sesame Street with astronauts
Right.
and the yip yaps talking about the moon and the earth, and
Right.
everything is globe programming. So flash forward, I started my own company. I had tons of time. I was doing podcasts and stuff. And then at the beginning of this year, COVID year, we'll call it, I decided to walk away from everything and do this full time. And here I am. I'm on your show. I'm talking to people all over the place. And, people basically, once you go through the nuts and bolts, they're like, well, I have 100 reasons that the earth is a ball. And when you knock them down when I knock them down one after another, they throw their hands up and go, what does it matter? What the shape of the earth? What does it matter? I still have to go to work tomorrow. And that's what I said also. But then you find out why it matters.
Right. Right. So for my audience and all the folks that will watch this, and David knows this, as a quantum physics student and very learned, I may add, I told David before the show started that the earth, whatever this is exactly what we claim it to be through our words, thoughts, and actions, right? So as people know, I'm Jay Campbell, the Raise Your Vibration guy. So David is on the show because A, he's very educated, B, he's very aware, and C, I always bring people on my show that will stimulate discussion and stimulate all of you to think differently, because especially right now with the world being where it's at, too many people are on one side of the camp or the other, one side of the campfire, one side of the line. And instead, my goal is always to tell people to attempt to opt out, right? Choose sovereignty for yourself and, obviously for your loved ones and family, but you only control yourself. So David, let's talk about this now. And I could go a million different directions with you. Again, you're very knowledgeable. Why do you think humanity is conditioned to believe the globe lie?
Well, it's and for me to say this, just jumping back a little bit, I've researched stuff for, decades now, and I'll be taking notes, got pages of notes, listening to a podcast, like, this is amazing. And then they would bring up God or Jesus or Muhammad, and I would tear out the pages, unsubscribe, and move on because I didn't believe any of that stuff. But then when I tried to prove the globe and realize we don't live in an accident. We don't live in a random accident. We live in the center of creation. And then that leads you to, there's a creator. Okay. So this place was created for us. Everything changes from that point. And the reason that they are lying about the globe, and by the way, it's a more recent lie than you think, is because it separates you from God or the creator.
Right.
It makes you insignificant. You have to believe that nothing exploded. This is what the heliocentric religion is. Nothing exploded, created everything. It created planets and suns, and they went in orbits, and lightning struck and created an amoeba, which is impossible. Right. And that amoeba, made it and became a fish, and it grew legs, and it climbed out of the water, found another mutant fish. Right. And they had sex, and it had a monkey, and the monkey had a retarded baby, and it was a human. Okay. So you have to believe all of that. It's impossible. I mean, we are divine creatures. We're having a divine experience in this realm, whatever it is. Beautiful. And we don't live on a dead rock flying through an infinite, godless, or distant God vacuum.
Beautiful, man. So by the way, when the word itself, believe, I always write it as BE capital LIE lowercase VE, right?
So do I. Belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief is the enemy of knowing. That's from Crow 777 Radio.
Exactly. And
that is the truest quote out there, other than the world is a stage.
That's so amazing that you and I are so connected in that, because I tell people all the time whenever they say to me, why do you believe that? I say, I don't believe in anything. I'm a knower, right? And to know takes a person into stillness and mind silence and meditation and introspection, and literally just shutting down all of the, ambient noise that is surrounding us by the matrix.
The people that get triggered by this discussion, they don't even know the globe model.
Exactly.
They don't even know how fast it's spinning, how fast it's orbiting, how fast, they don't know anything.
No.
And their idea of what the flat earth is completely they've been gatekept with ridiculous information. I mean, whoops, wrong video there. This is what people believe.
Yeah.
This right here, that we're spinning and whirling, and they don't even know that.
Yeah.
And having your entire worldly foundation ripped out from underneath you at any stage in your life is a difficult, emotionally painful thing. Your ego has to die. You have to be willing to admit that you've been fooled. And, then when you come out the other side, after you go through the whole anger and revenge and just whatever,
Ego
depression,
death.
you come out the other side empowered.
Exactly.
Because you are at the center of creation. I always relate it to the documentary with Keanu Reeves called The Matrix, when at the beginning, where he's like, something's wrong with the world. Something's wrong with the world. I believe that a lot of depression is because your soul knows the truth, and your conscious ego mind is not connecting with your soul.
Right.
And you're lost in space rather than knowing that you are a divine creation at the center of creation.
So that's 100% accurate, by the way, in my opinion, which is pure awareness. So the next question along that lines is, they say, I love how you say the documentary, The Matrix, but how could they lie? So let's define they, right? Now, there's a million theys. I could give you the Illuminati, the royal bloodline families, the fallen angels, the reptilians, the interdimensionals, the hyperdimensionals. I mean, we could go all these different paths, but, obviously I'm interested in your opinion of who is this they construct or archetype.
You kind of said it right there. They are the bloodlines, these royal families that we may not even know their names. The royal families that we see running the world, those are the puppets of the real controllers. I don't even know where they are. They might be in the outer space across the Earth plane beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. They might be living out there. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe they travel back and forth.
Yeah. Do you think they are humanoid, or they are, I mean, for, again, my opinion, and my audience knows this, but I lay it out like whatever is in control of this, narrative is hyperdimensional. And there's only a very few, humanoid beings that have any idea, because it's all compartmentalized, right? It's all like deep structured, like the cube, the Rubik's Cube, where, it just falls in and nobody knows. Everybody's just like a gatekeeper or a role player. But do you think, and this goes back to the scriptural interpretations, and I'm not a literalist, but do you think that really it's just the fallen angels? It's really just Lucifer under a million different names? Because, right, like you got the Anunnaki, and the gods of Egypt, and the gods of Rome, and the gods of Greece. I mean, do you think it's just all the same thing, just engineered to all these different people and cultures on this planet so that it's just utter confusion, the Tower of Babel aspect?
Most likely. I don't know who they are. It's clear that, that you work your way up the pyramid. I don't know if you look at, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and everybody, where are they? I don't think they're at the top. I think they're several layers down.
They're puppets, like you said. They're puppets.
Yeah. Right. So again, who are they? I don't know. People shop at Costco, and they don't know who they are at the top of the Costco. They don't know who the people that make all the rules. They don't know who they are.
Right. And they never do. So, and that's what's so sick, is that most people never bother to ask questions, but thankfully for people like you and I, that's all we do. Dude, I could go so many different directions with you. What difference, truthfully, does the shape of the earth even matter?
So again, as we were talking before the show, you said you're not a flat earther, but it's some sort of realm. We don't know. The shape has nothing to do with it. The shape, I don't care what the shape is. It's that we don't live on a dead ball spinning through space. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. They tell us that planets spun fast and they threw off big chunks to create the moons. Well, why didn't all the water go with that? I mean, the stuff that they say, again, they're testing our intelligence on every level, from the election down to the nonsense that NASA says. Just look at the announcements every day. NASA discovered, an asteroid on Halloween that looks like a skeleton, and a pumpkin, one that looks like a pumpkin. It's it's the most ridiculous stuff, but people just believe. I mean,
Right.
if you look at what NASA's doing, you know, it's all it's all just it's mockery. It's a lot of mockery.
Right. Absolutely.
And
A sham mockery for sure.
yeah. So who are the, you know, are they humanoid? I think that there's a lot of extraterrestrials. They come from the
Yeah,
territory,
exactly.
the
Yeah.
extra
Right. They're
land.
hyperdimensional. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. I can't really speak to that. I'm sure there is. There's probably lots of evidence, but I can't prove it. I'm not. I let other people
Right.
handle that.
Well,
But
go
there's
ahead.
other people. They probably speak English that come
Sure.
from other lands.
Right. 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 Right.
You know,
Well, so
beyond where
again,
we're allowed.
for me, you know, again, and again, I don't know everything. We, as you've already said eloquently, like, you know, we're working on educated guesses, but when you know, my experience with plant medicine, with 5-MeO DMT, with my meditation, and really getting into stillness and mind silence, like, you know, I sense things. I have an understanding that, like, you know, you were saying that we are absolutely divine beings, and that we have a spirit form. That's our true essence, is our spirit form. And we inhabit these physical, you know, avatar bodies to learn and to grow and to experience life, you know, as a physical being, whatever. But like, there's just times or things that I sense. And I really do think that Earth life, you know, in this matrix, you know, full of polarity, full of opposites, full of sides, red, white, blue, black, you know, Republican, conservative, Democrat, everything is just them making us choose. It's like, you have to detach from, again, that fight or that argument or that duality or whatever. But like, I sense that there are advanced or higher forms of awareness, right? And if you want to recognize that a higher form of awareness could be a being of, say, light, or again, a resonant being, a pure consciousness being, whatever. Because to me, David, all we are is consciousness, right? Like, if you read, right, you read like Walter Russell, or again, Dr. David Hawkins, or even what's the guy's name? Neville Goddard. You know, they just literally tell you that ascension, what does it mean? It means to advance your consciousness to a state of pure awareness, which is knowing, which you've already talked about. And that's, you know, again, the new age and all these people have like just stolen all this shit and hijacked it and made people think other things about it. But really, the purpose of being a human is to wake up, to
Jay,
actually recognize that.
In a nutshell, what's your thoughts on astrology? Valuable, not valuable, real, not real?
No, I think there's a lot of value to it. I think that the ancients were huge in that.
Let me address that. As a kid growing up into my adulthood, astrology is the most ridiculous thing ever. How could a rock 25 million miles away affect who I am?
Conditioned
it makes no sense.
us. Yeah.
Its gravity can't even move our moon a little bit. You know, it makes no sense. But in the flat Earth model, everything we see in the sky is within the Earth system.
Right.
The only thing that you can actually say accurately about anything we see in the sky, from the sun, moon, planets, stars, or anything else that's not an airplane, is their lights, their luminaries. We don't know how big they are.
Right.
Like this, at the time of this recording, most of the planets are in the night sky all at the same time. There's an amazing alignment coming up. And if you look at them, they could be the size of a beach ball or a basketball or a house, or they could be 100 miles. I don't know how big they are, and nobody can tell you otherwise.
Right.
But if you look at them, you know, our optics have outgrown their lives. We can get our super zoom cameras and zoom in on them, and they're geometric pulsing orbs with personalities, is the way I say it.
Exactly.
You know, like when I have some video of Arcturus and some other stars, they're amazing. You literally feel it in your heart. Yeah. So where these things are, and they're all named after gods, that's interesting. You know, so where they are in the sky affects you on a level. And so I think that, you know, all of the luminaries we see are consciousness. They might be, you know, for lack of a better word, the projectors of who we really are. Our true self could be in the heavens that are right above. Right. And we're having this physical experience with amnesia. That, you know, totally. to have this ride. You know what's amazing? You probably are the same as me. I love puzzles and I love roller coasters. I'm loving 2020.
Right. Right. There you go. No, but it's true. And I agree with you 100%. And I've actually learned in the last like 7 years a lot more about astrology. Some of the authors that I read, really were dialed into that. Like the guy, John, it's a pseudonym, John Baines. I forget his real name, but he wrote Stellar Man, and he has an entire chapter about astrology and how important astrology is as an earth being, because again, we're all star beings, right? Like we literally emanate from the stars. We're made of star materials.
Carl Sagan wasn't
Yeah.
lying, even though he's the biggest deceiver on
He
the
was
earth.
forced to lie. Yeah.
But they tell us the truth. We are made of stardust.
Exactly.
Well, the stars are the consciousness that, and we're here having this experience. You and I know that this isn't all there is. So once you know that, nothing is scary.
Beautiful.
Nothing.
To that point, and I've been saying this for years, that is the most important thing, is overcoming the fear of quote unquote death, which is really just finite limitation, right? The aspect that this physical body and this current, matrix existence ends. And once you're aware of what you just discussed or described, which we both are, there is no fear. Like
I don't want to die. I have a horrible case of FOMO, right? I don't want to miss out. This is
exactly.
We bought tickets to the show.
Exactly.
And the show is just starting.
Enjoy the show. Yes, you're right. We're going to get to that, by the way. Okay, so is everything, well, actually, let me not ask you that, because we and I both know the answer to that. What isn't a lie?
No, nothing. I don't know. The two biggest quotes are, the only thing to fear is fear itself, right? That's the absolute truth, because fear is the only thing that'll stop you from reaching your potential.
Absolutely.
And the world is a stage. I used to hang on to Sully landing on the Hudson River like that. Oh, that's real. I live right outside of New York City. And then I found out it's complete and total garbage. But people say, well, why would they do that? I don't fear,
So that's the answer, David. So to that point, 9/11, we saw the towers come down. We saw the planes run into them according to what, the controllers showed us. But realistically, and now with COVID, whenever they pull off these giant false flag psyops, they are creating dissonance, which is fear, and they're feeding energetically and etherically off of that emotion of fear.
So this is what people don't realize. The reason that there's so many zombies out in the world is because they don't know that there is such a thing as a spiritual war. Right. They don't know
no clue.
That there's entities feeding off of our fear. Right. And they're feeding off of our energy, and it's easier to create a low energy of fear. So they got the news, and they got asteroids, fake. Right. They got nuclear bombs, don't exist. Fake. They got terrorist nonsense.
Yep.
That Kim Jong-un, North Korea doesn't even exist.
Everything is fake, dude.
Yeah, everything is fake, and it's all to keep us in fear. Now they got a virus that has a 99.98% survival rate, that everyone's suffocating themselves and causing brain damage.
I was about ready to say, you can't even die from it. And again, as a scientist, in my past scientist life, we've hacked it and we know what it is. And the only way you will actually die from it is if you're in fear of it.
Fear is the #1 killer in the world. They don't talk about that. People get diagnosed with cancer that don't have cancer and then end up dying because of fear, right? Fear will poison your cells. And so think about this. We're going in the north here. We're going into the cold and flu season with the lowest level of health the population has ever been in. They've all been home. They're financially stressed out. They're fear of dying.
Exactly.
They're in this heart, and they're suffocating themselves, rebreathing their own viral load. And check this out. Supposedly it could live on a dollar bill for a month, and then when you touch the dollar, it's gonna go down. Or if you're within 6 feet of somebody, it'll fly into them. But you can't spit on a Q-tip to have a test. They have to go and poke the thinnest part of your blood-brain barrier. They're poking it. Right? What happens when somebody sticks a stick up there and it's literally wafer thin? It's so thin. They're poking holes in it. Then they trap your viral load in a mask, and you're rebreathing it. And now they're saying the virus is mutated. It's affecting the brain. Okay? Because people are getting brain infections. Right?
Bro, people are so
craziest shit going on, and people are so lost.
They're so gone. It's so funny. But to that, did you see it came out yesterday? Now they have a color-coded map in the USA. They came out yesterday of where your highest risk is. And of course, it's all in the cold upper, middle part of the country where it's the coldest weather towards Canada, the tundra aspect. And it's like they actually have a percentage of color coded of like what your risk is. I mean, it is complete and total insanity, dude.
And the reason that they can convince us this, the reason that most people are falling for it, because the people are lost. I say they're lost in space.
Literally.
They don't realize
That's
it,
the truth.
but they think they're spinning out of control, lost in space. You say you like to meditate. I tell people to try this. Go outside, go to your meditation spot, and then focus on the heliocentric model. So you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. When you watch the sunset, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, which is making the sun appear to go down.
Right.
You're orbiting the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour.
Right.
You can't, 66,000 miles an hour. You can't even fathom that speed.
Yeah.
And you're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour. So imagine all those speeds, sit there, imagine all of this is going on, and see how you feel. You're going to feel sick, right? But then if you then, wake up, shake it off, and then go meditate and say, all right, I'm on the flat earth, the foundation, it's the basement of the universe. It's not floating in space like the Flat Earth Society will tell you. And everything is perfectly still, okay? And all of a sudden, you'll feel life come back into your heart. Yeah. Your brain, you'll start glowing. And then you'll open your eyes, and it's a whole new world, okay? People are living their lives in that first scenario, spinning out of control, where an asteroid's going to kill them like it killed the fake dinosaurs, okay? So there you go.
Bro, I could talk to you all day. That's beautiful. I've never heard anybody eloquently put it that way again. But again, I'm a huge, huge proponent of Neville Goddard. And he says, claim the I am, right? I am, and then blank, whatever your highest and best of what you want to be, and start being that person right now. And that's exactly the analogy of what you just said of the spinning universe, or the I'm completely assured of who I am and where I'm at, and I can do anything I want. Let me ask you.
So just finishing my point,
Yeah.
when you believe that you're lost in space, in an expanding godless universe, that affects your decision making.
Exactly.
That affects everything about your life.
Yeah.
And that removes your power. When you know that you're at the center of creation, you're protected, and there's energies connecting to you, you can raise your vibration and you can do anything.
Exactly.
I mean, we are at not the pinnacle of intelligence. We are at the bottom of the trench.
Yes.
So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good. And I'm glad you said that. I wanted to ask you, I want to get into the good versus evil, the war, the spiritual war that we are waging right now that we're going to talk about as we get to the end. But, something you said, which is, it's mind-blowingly fascinating, is just the whole idea that we talked about earlier, is that now younger people, it's much worse now for younger people, right? Because you and I, when we grew up, there wasn't all this technology that answered their questions for them without them doing any work and exploratory research and, obviously going out there and doing the work. Now they just say, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, hey, Google. But one of your points is like, how can people really truly find awareness and truth with Google controlling the informational dissemination across the planet? And we know that Google is part of the toxic tech, crew of, whatever, again, they are. Like, what do people do? I mean, like, these young people are literally being brainwashed into believing that Joe Biden is good for this planet, right? Like, Joe Biden doesn't even exist.
Plain.
So what do people, what do people do right now to gain awareness?
So again, the globe has a major advantage over flat Earth, and that is, you can believe it. A teacher, a guy in a bow tie told you, who's just a failed actor. He's not a scientist. He told you, they taught you in school. Okay, you believe it. The teachers of this world are the ones that are the best at memorizing and regurgitating the Rockefeller textbooks.
Right.
When I first got into flat Earth in 2014, 2015, whatever it was, you can go on YouTube and search flat Earth, and bam, all of the new videos. And there was hundreds of videos going up daily. And wow, the research was amazing. Now you search Flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society, which is a government-controlled disinformation site that'll make you think Flat Earth is the dumbest thing ever.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay Campbell. Quick commercial for the Optimized Tribe with U.S. Navy SEAL Michael Jaco and I every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There is not a single group online where you will get the highest level intel that Michael and I can provide you, from mastering intuition to fully optimizing your hormonal health, to improving your fitness, to raising your vibration and increasing your consciousness. There isn't a single group online with two dudes like Michael and myself helping people become the best version of their self. It's literally $99 a month, and you get a 90-minute call with me and Michael every single Monday night. Don't wait another second. Sign up now at the link, theoptimizedtribe.com. I appreciate you guys, and I send you tremendous love and light.
I created an app. Let me share it with you real quick, and I'll give you a quick demonstration for those that don't know what the Flat Earth is. So this is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. The sun laps the moon. Right now, you can't see the moon because we're going into a new moon, so I'll let it go around a couple times. But the sun laps the moon every 28 days, okay? The sky is a perfect clock. That's the hour hand that the sun is on, and the moon, there's the moon emerging, and it'll take 28 and a half times around or whatever for the sun to lap the moon.
That's very cool. By the way, let me ask you something. So this is really awesome, by the way. So you do not think, the whole Truman Show aspect of the dome, do you think there's any truth to any of that?
That is that they're telling us so much truth in that video. The moon is not what we think it is. I don't believe that it's even a physical body, but again, I can't go up there. Anything that's over, 30, 40,000 feet or beyond the line of Antarctica, speculation. Can't go there.
Beyond the line of sight, right? Because we know our sight has been conditioned and we have very limited field of vision.
So let me finish here. The stars, the stars, we're moving all of those. Remember all those directions that I showed you in that model behind me? Yeah. And every year, every decade, doesn't matter, on the same night you go out, the stars are in the exact same position. The zodiac spins around and laps the sun once a year. It's going slightly faster than the sun. That way, the sun will move backwards through the zodiac for about a month in each one. And that's how you can tell where the zodiac is. The app will also show you what sign the moon is in, and that changes like every 3 or 4 days.
Very cool.
Okay. So getting around the censorship. So people say, well, Flat Earth is crazy. Like, what about circumnavigation? What about you hit the question mark and you hear, where's the edge? What about gravity? Why the lie? Oh, why the lie? Let's click why the lie. And up comes a video about why the lie and a whole playlist of videos. That's
awesome, bro.
That will blow you away. Right.
Make sure our podcast is in here now.
Well, actually, on this page, I link other shows that have awake stuff in there. I rotate things out, so I'm happy to include you in here.
Beautiful, man.
But there's other things in there. The app instructions are right in the top center. I'm making a new video because there's like so many new features. I have different languages for people that
that's awesome, dude.
Want to see stuff. And then also the thing is, I tell people, take the Flat Earth app challenge. Okay, every day there's a new video that shows up here in the featured video. I said for 2 weeks, watch the featured video.
Are you making these videos, or are you just?
I make some of them, but I basically take the other videos from other people. And again, when like if you said, "Hey Dave, send me something on the fake moon landing," I'd send it to you, and then Google would feed you a propaganda piece right after.
That's pretty dope.
These videos are followed up by the videos that I've selected. Yeah. Okay. So every day you get a new video. If you hit the archive button, which is right here, you get all of the videos from all of the last couple of years. So I tell people, take the Flat Earth app challenge, and what they do is they say, hey, I saw you on Jay's show, and I bought your stupid app, and I took the challenge, but I didn't want to wait. So I will hit the archive button. I haven't slept in 2 days. My family thinks I'm crazy now. The earth is flat. What the fuck do I do? Okay. And I'm just like, welcome to Flat Earth. So the app is $2.99. Okay. And when you get in there, it asks you if you want to subscribe for 99 cents a month. You don't have to subscribe. You can X that pop-up out instantly without waiting a single second, and it only shows up once a day. No ads, no nothing else, and you still get everything. Okay.
That's very cool.
And so lots of features. Also, like if I put on the world time, so right now, if we look, it's 5 a.m. in Eastern Australia, or it's 9 p.m. in Johannesburg, South Africa. So it shows you, where the world time is. So if you want to call your friend in Australia, you might want to wait just a little bit so you don't wake them up. Right. And then there's other things, like if you look, remember the jet streams that they show us that go up and down, right? If you look here, if I go to 40,000 feet, these are the jet streams on the flat Earth. These are the actual live jet streams.
That's
these
awesome.
Winds out here are going 200 to 300 miles an hour. These pink and white, okay, 200 to 300 miles an hour eastward. Wow. That means at 40,000 feet, they're outrunning the spin of the ball. They're not falling backwards like a blender. They're outrunning the ball. It's completely and totally nonsensical. So one more thing I want to show you, and then I'll back out of this. Is I have to quit the app here.
By the way, where are you getting that data from?
That data is from a site that basically it's pulling it from I forget the name of it's a weather cycle, and it's just reformatting it onto the flat Earth map, which is the UN map. I mean, this is
right, the UN map, right?
Yeah. So
don't they love to tell us?
Yeah. So the other thing is, if you click the weather up in the top right there, it'll give you your local weather. Everyone gets up in the morning, wants to know what the weather is. It's a dark sky forecast. It's really useful. Also, the sun. I'm going to jump the sun forward to December, and if you look, it's December. It's out over that yellow line. That's the Tropic of Capricorn. So it's the outer southern lands summer, and it's the inner northern lands winter, because the sun is just farther away.
Right.
And if I go to June, you'll see that it's over the Tropic of Cancer, and the outer lands are having their colder winter, and we're having our summer because the sun is closer.
Dude, that's just pretty amazing, man. I mean, you definitely have opened my eyes a lot in this with just this right here, and just understanding like how it has to be flat or a plane or whatever the hell it is.
And you could change your backgrounds. You could pick, different backgrounds. You can go down, you can hit my t-shirt shop and see, this shirt and other shirts.
You're saying this app literally is just $2.99 one time.
It's $2.99 one time. And what I tell people, if you're new to Flat Earth, you can just don't subscribe until you wake up every day going, I can't wait to see what's on the app. When you're doing that for a couple months, the next time that thing pops up, feel free to, you can subscribe for a year, $11 for the year. Okay. I think I'm the cheapest person to support out there. But again, if you can't do it, if you're on your mother's phone plan, if you're a kid, it's fine. It's okay. And if you have listen, I say if you have an iPhone, you can afford the $2.99. There's a lot of people that have Androids that can't afford the $2.99. Send me an email, info@theflatearthpodcast.com. Tell me your story, and I'll give you a free download code. All right?
There you go. Nice, man. Good for you, man. So why are you not doing affiliates with people like me so we can sell a whole lot more of these and make you a little bit more money and give you more?
We can talk about that after the show. Listen, I just want the information out there. I didn't build this app. I built this app for me because when I was talking to people and explaining the Flat Earth, they'd be like, really, really? And then I'd break out the app and they go, oh, I wasn't even going to publish it. I just built it for myself. Yeah. Then I decided to publish it. And then I just keep adding. I've been working on this app for 2 years with India.
Bro. So we'll talk after, because I think that you deserve more money and I can help with that. But let's. All
right.
Well, first off, you are very humble and you have great humility, even though you have a lot of knowledge. And that sometimes is hard to do when you're extremely hyper aware to maintain humility. I mean, I know for me, I discount people and judge people too fast sometimes. And so to be able to do that, I mean, I'm the similar way, right? I give away a lot of stuff. I give away a lot of free stuff. All my books I give away for free. But that's awesome, man. Okay. So let's, we've been on for about 50 minutes. Let's spend the last I mean, here, I told you we're going to go over 60. Let's spend the last 15 to 20 minutes here talking about right now, right? Because there's never, like you said, we're just getting started. It's probably the greatest time ever, well, at least in this human epic that hasn't flipped over, to be alive. Like, what do you think is, it's an opinion question, David, but what do you think is happening right now?
I think that there's an intelligence test going on to weed out the people that are wasting their soul's journey. You know, we have souls, multiple souls. We have a main soul, and then we have other souls in our body, and it's here to have an experience. And your soul knows the truth, but your brain, your ego, your mind has amnesia because you're here. We're figuring out a puzzle. We're having a ride, and you're supposed to, you know, appreciate where you are, and you know, the farther you disconnect from your soul vibrationally,
Right.
the more depressed and the more miserable you're going to be.
Right.
So there's so many people that have got caught in material, in their material world, and they've forgotten how to connect with nature, and they're just lost in this corporate system. They're the ones walking around with the face diapers on, you know, screaming at people that aren't wearing them. They're the ones that are going to line up for the vaccine, which is insanity. And, you know, so what's going on? Maybe it's an intelligence test to sort, you know, what'd you say? What's the term? The wheat from the shaft? Or,
yeah, the wheat from the tares. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The
I look at it. I look at it. That's what's going on. It's also, again, I look at it. We're on a ride, and it's amazing. And, you know, when you talked about the quantum field, or I call it the quantum field.
Sure.
Whenever I have an issue, I focus. I put my mind in the quantum field, and I design what I want.
Right.
And the world delivers it so
Absolutely.
fast. Sometimes it scares me. I am my worst enemy because I'm the one that stops any of those things from happening.
And that's 100% accurate, because back to what you just said about the people that are vibrating and, you know, down here, dissonance, they are focused on what they don't want. Right. And you have to, as quantum, you know, you called it quantum field, you know, quantum physics, whatever you want to call it, quantum entanglement. I mean, you have to focus on what you want. And then you have to take massive action, obviously, to get those things. Like, for example, for you, 2 years working on this app, that's massive action. How many people spend 2 years on anything in their fucking life? They go from one thing to the other, to the next. They never do the work. But, you know, it's so vitally important for people to recognize what you just said. And again, this is my mantra now, is like, you can have whatever you want. You just have to focus and have a plan and be creative and courageous to get there, right? And it's like, these people down here are just constantly blaming others, labeling, judging, it's not my fault, never taking personal accountability, never being sovereign and empowered, which is ultimately freedom, and just constantly being, tuned like a pitchfork by them, right? And that's all the people that quote unquote, did or didn't vote for Joe Biden, right? But it's those people in that blue state of consciousness, that low vibration, don't think, keep me in the sleep state, give me McDonald's, pizza, beer, weed, whatever it is, right? Like, just make my life miserable, but I'm good because there's so many people like me, crabs in a bucket, right? So it's like,
when something negative happens, I look at it like I'm on a swing and they just pushed me,
right.
And that gives me more momentum to go the other way.
Exactly.
The contrast brings in desire,
right?
And desire leads the path.
Beautiful. Desire is everything,
Yeah.
I
believe that the elite don't have that. I think that they're using us to create their world, or they're feeding off of us. Think about this.
Yeah.
Real quick. The Agenda 21, 2030, they want us out of rural areas, out of nature, in stack and pack cities. Well, about the ghost cities in China and stuff. Well, New York City, office life is done there. The people I live outside of New York, where a lot of Wall Street people live. They're all working out of their homes and they're being more efficient. They're never going back. All of those are going to turn into stack and pack residences. So what they want is people living in their building. They'll have a gym in the building. Amazon will deliver everything that they want. They'll stay in their building and they'll be spinning on their bikes. I have an indoor spin bike. I stare at a screen spinning. It's the most dumbest thing ever. Yep. But it's how I get my exercise. And they're going to be feeding off of our energy. They're going to be using us as like cryptocurrency.
The hive mind.
And literally, it's the Matrix.
Exactly.
It's the Matrix. They have us in these pods, and we are the power cells for their reality.
We're on the same wavelength. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Before I let you go, though, and again, it's just an opinion question, and I ask all the people. I mean, I don't do a lot of podcasts with people as awakened, as aware as you are, so it's a blessing. But I won't let you go because people will be like, Jay, you didn't ask him what he thinks is going to happen, right? So, in the timeline of where we're at right now, right, and today is November 12th. We are 9 days since the fraud of frauds occurred. Do you think that there will be, say, by mid-January, I think the new president of the United States, which, let's be honest, right? The president of the United States is literally the leader of the free world, right? The rest of the world right now is locked down, face diapered up. They're all gone, right? They're all looking to the U.S. as the beacon, right? And if U.S. was the new Atlantis, just as the old Atlantis was, housed in the same regional or geographical location, they're looking to what happens with this election. What do you think is going to happen ultimately?
I keep my options open. Do I think that Trump is going to take the election? I totally do. I also said Hillary was going to win, but right. So I think that Trump is going to clearly take it. A landslide isn't the right word. A Trump slide. That's going to be the new term. A Trump slide. I mean, he basically won almost every state.
I think he won every state, David.
We listen to CNN and see all the polls and stuff, and the polls were off so much that nobody should ever listen to the news again. Look at social media. Trump had 145 million social media followers, and Biden had 30. If half of the Trump people voted and all of the Biden people voted twice, he still loses. Okay. So, those are the polls right there. Social media followers will tell you right there. So I think that's going to happen. What does that mean? I don't know the answer to that, Jay.
Well, dude, this podcast has been amazing. I'm putting this in my feed right away. It's very important that people listen to this. Let me ask you, are you okay to keep going?
Absolutely.
Why do so many people, I think I know the answer, but I want to hear your answer. Why do so many people resist the idea that there wasn't fraud, even though they see it right in front of them? Why are they so not able to accept or admit it? Your opinion?
Because they don't have enough oxygen going to their brains because they're wearing face diapers. It's the beginning of the year. I don't know. They're literally, it's a multi-prong attack. They're consuming fluoride. Their pineal glands are calcified. They're not connecting to source. They're literally just disconnected from God. Even if they're religious, they're caught in their religious dogma, and they're not really connected. And then, they watch the news. The news tells them what to think. The news said President-elect Biden. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
It doesn't even exist, David. It's a stagery.
Right. And I'm watching Biden, speeches. It's like there's 50 cuts inside of 2 minutes. I'm like, how long did they film this?
Bro, every time you see him on social media, it's a different person. There have been thousands of people who have showed the different earlobes and the nose connection. It's all
remember fake. his I guess it was his acceptance speech, or when he declared he won. You hear cars honking and you hear people. You don't really see the people. I'm like, I don't think he was even there.
He wasn't. My good friend said that was the code for the quote unquote deep state, the cabal, the dark whatever manipulators to manufacture the votes, right? Because at that point, everybody knew that, who was paying attention knew that Trump had won in a landslide. And then they stopped the vote counting, and then magically overnight, Biden made up all those states, right? So it's all stagecraft. But, dude, that's the question you and I could have a podcast on all day.
Let me ask you a question. Is it because, when the Trump turns it over and takes it, that the Democrats will cause more violence than the Republicans?
That's what I think. That's what
they want. they need something to, the dollar is gone. The dollar is dead. They just haven't told anybody yet. I mean, we're having record stock market.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
It's a sham, dude. It's all
that's
staged.
and they said that the employment, there's so many new jobs were just created last quarter. What?
So my wife said this last night, to your point right there, is that people think that they're doing this to gaslight people like us who are awake, and it's the opposite. It's to infuriate the blue checks, the sheep sleeping, the pineal gland poisoned, so that they do create chaos. So it's almost like the elites want a population check. This is their ultimate eugenic plan to create civil war and chaos and anarchy in the United States when Trump is ultimately restored to the throne.
I mean, you're aware of the Deagle report about population. So whether that is an event that is, a depopulation that is part of a cycle, something that they want to create, something that just is going to happen, are they trying to figure out who's going to make it through this and who's not? I don't know, but turn the power off for a dark winter. That's Biden with that freaking comment. And the Project Dark Winter or Operation Dark Winter about a virus.
Yep.
Drop the dollar to nothing. Suicides, murders.
Oh.
I mean, we're literally talking the purge here.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Right. Yeah.
It's insane. A box of friggin' 9mm costs $45 now.
I know, dude. Well, I mean, in California, you can't get anything. But all right, so we'll end the show on this. Like, do you foresee, again, opinion question, and again, it's kind of where I am, and I think I know your answer, but I just want your answer. Do you foresee, though, ultimately a good ending out of this, and it just comes to the individual, creating their own good ending?
I see a good ending for those people with a higher vibration. I mean, the way you look at it, if you realize where we are, what we are, what's really going on, there's only good endings.
Exactly.
Okay? Whether that good ending looks like a tragedy to somebody else, that doesn't matter. I mean, I suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out.
Sure.
I don't like to go to sleep because I might miss something. Right. I get up early in the morning. I'm full of energy. Like the other night, I didn't sleep at all, and I couldn't get to sleep. I mean, the next day, so I stayed up for like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Not healthy. I definitely need to get my sleep, but I want to be here through all of this. This is the greatest time to be alive ever. Greatest time ever. Yeah. And just one thing which we talked about early was the people used to say, we've known the earth has been flat for 500 years. I interviewed a woman, a 102-year-old woman back in January. I was talking to her about the World's Fairs, and she was telling me stories about her 5th birthday, and she knew everything. And I was like, I said, hey, what did they teach you in elementary school about the earth? And she said, they taught me the earth is flat. And I immediately started recording it. It's on my YouTube channel. I just want people to look at it. We also found another Croatian woman about the same age. This was like a year ago. And she said in the 1930s, they were teaching the earth was flat in Croatia. So this whole turnover to this heliocentric soul lure system, lure your soul away. They want your soul. Okay. Most people don't believe that's a thing. That's why.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah. That is a new thing. It's a new thing. History is a lie. All of it. Anything before 1920 is unprovable lie, pretty much.
Right.
And so our the final thing I'll say is our mission here, when we're here having this experience, our only goal is to stay in control of our soul and connect with it as much as we can, and not to lose it or sell it or allow other evil demons in to take over.
Amazing, bro. Phenomenal podcast. I agree with at least 95 to 96%, maybe higher, of everything you said. I mean, we're obviously consciously very connected as beings, whatever the fuck we are. I mean, obviously we're not Jay Campbell or David Weiss. We're just souls, right? Having this cosmic, amazing experience on this planet right now. And we're here and we might as well enjoy the ride. Okay. So David Weiss, where can people, besides the app, which I want you to talk about again, how can people connect with you online?
The best way is on the app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Maybe you'll include a link below this,
Oh yeah.
or you can just scan my QR code right here. Just point your camera at it, and the daily videos. Also, my YouTube channel, I specialize for people like me, short attention span. Okay,
Right.
a long video, 5 minutes, is like a documentary for me. I do short videos. I have hundreds of them on my channel, and the channel is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. It's DITRH.
Nice.
Find me there, and then the Flat Earth podcast on all podcast players, iTunes, SoundCloud, and we have a Flat Earth podcast Facebook page, which I haven't been using that much, but stuff goes up there fairly regularly.
All right. Well, I expect you to bring me on your podcast at some point. We'll go even crazier and go somewhat even deeper.
Yeah.
David Weiss, man, I appreciate you coming on today, man. It was awesome. So all my fans and friends and audience, please support the amazing people that come on the Jay Campbell podcast. I highly recommend you guys pick up David's app. It's $2.99. And then whatever else the subscription model is during the year, it's clearly worth it. I mean, I learned stuff just watching it, with the shadow and how the earth goes around with the time zones and stuff like that. Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, pretty amazing stuff. I will say to everybody, remember, raise your vibration to optimize your love creation. We will see you guys very soon.